You want to bring light and healing to the world, you've got to start with yourself. You've got to let yourself shine, and you've got to find your own radiance and your own brilliance. And guess what? You don't have to look outside of yourself for it. It's already in you. We just got to dust you off just a little bit so that you can shine your light. And it is such a relief, and it is so much fun and a little bit scary at first to do, but don't worry, I've got you. I'll walk you through it if you'll let me. Well, hello there, prosperity seeker. You found me. I'm so excited. Welcome to the Prosperity Approach. I'm your host, Allyson Chavez, and we are going to have such a fun time talking about today's topic. But before we do that, I want to remind you, if you're listening to the audio version of this episode, be sure that you're following this podcast on your favorite app. And if you're watching this episode on YouTube right now, you got to do two things. First, be sure to click that red subscribe button below and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time we drop a new episode. All right, so today we're going to talk about pressure versus pleasure. This is a hot topic, and you don't even know it's a hot topic right now, especially if you're trying to lead out with your feminine. Because as my dear friend Laurel Houston has said, women have been governed by the clock, and we need to be governed by the compass. And I loved that so much. And I did this deep dive into that. What does it look like when we're governed by the clock? What does it look like when we're working under pressure? What does it look like when we're governed by the compass? And what does that even look like? What is the compass? What's the true north? What's the roadmap? So we're going to unpack all of that today and leave you hopefully feeling so lit up, so inspired, so relieved more than anything else. When I started really tapping into my feminine and my sacred sexy, actually, because sexy actually is quite sacred. The world has made it quite profane, but it is actually really, really sacred. Same with sensuality. The world has made being sensual a dirty, awful thing. And it's not. Being sensual, it just means your five senses, like being connected to your body, being connected to your five senses. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on in today's episode. But first, let's talk about pressure. We live under an enormous amount of pressure, don't we? Especially as women. And we have been put under this pressure for thousands and thousands of years. And BT dubs, like, I'm not dissing men here, all right? I've said this before, but I'll continue to say that throughout this conversation. Because we live in such a hypersensitive world, like, we find what we're looking for, right? And if we're looking to be offended, we don't have to look very far to be offended. But I am not sticking it to the man. I'm not sticking it to the establishment. I'm not flipping the bird at male figures or organizations or anything like that. This is a patriarchal system that's been set up years and years ago, thousands of years ago. And these are about two different energies, masculine energy and feminine energy. And there is such a thing as toxic masculinity. And guess what? There's also such a thing as toxic femininity. And what we need to do is get out of the toxicity of both of those energies, get into the empowerment of both of those energies, and then balance them. Oh, my word, we'll change the whole world when we do this. And as women, we are meant to lead out with our empowered feminine. But we haven't been taught how to do that. We live in a masculine dominated world. Everywhere the masculine is celebrated, the feminine is devalued and dismissed and discounted. And it's time to turn the tables on that without, thumbing our nose at any person or anything. We're just talking about energies here. And one of the reasons why women are numbing more than ever, why we're trying to escape, why we feel pulled in so many different directions, is because we have been under this masculine drive forever. And our souls and our spirits are just being sucked dry from this. It means it's time for us to do it in a different way. If you want to bring light and healing to the world, you've got to start with yourself. You've got to let yourself shine, and you've got to find your own radiance and your own brilliance. And guess what? You don't have to look outside of yourself for it. It's already in you. We just got to dust you off just a little bit so that you can shine your light. And it is such a relief. And it is so much fun and a little bit scary at first to do, but don't worry, I've got you. I'll walk you through it if you'll let me. It's the most liberating, fantastic thing that I've ever experienced. And it has connected me with my spouse more than ever before. It's connected with my children. It's connected me with my team, with my clients. First and foremost, it's connected me with myself, which is most important. And it is just connecting everywhere on so many different levels. So we've been taught to be governed by the clock and to live under all of this pressure. We've got to be everything to everyone. Have you noticed that? Or do you feel that way? You've got to know how to run your household. You got to know how to raise your children well. You got to be able to get the reports in on time. You got to be really fantastic at your job. You've got to have the perfect figure. You've got to work out 6 days a week. You know, like there's this whole laundry list of things that we must do in order to be even like enough. Let's not even talk about being the perfect woman. Even for society to you know, give you the magic wand and go, ding, you are now enough, which by the way, they never will. That's up to you. That'll be a different podcast though. We've got this whole long list of what we have to do, and that is masculine energy. Oh, we got to cook, we got to clean, and we got to be the CEO, and we got to run the company, or we just got to be the best darn employee the boss has ever seen. And we have to also be submissive, and we also have to be an angel in public and a devil in the bedroom. And we've got it and we have all of these things and all these dichotomies that are just like being hurled at us all the time. It's no wonder that we feel like we're living in a pressure cooker, and that we're unfulfilled, and that we're numbing, and that we're escaping, and we're pulled in so many different ways. And even when we hit that next level of success, it's still not enough. It's still, you know, it's fascinating to me and also heartbreaking to me that I have never been more physically fit than I am right now. In my life, I'm 45 years old. I have never seen arm muscles in me until now. Not even when I was a teenager did I have like definition in my muscles. And I have that, and I am healthy based on all the medical charts. And I look at myself and I think, God, I hate my belly. How come I can be a size 4 and still feel fat? What is the deal there? Oh, holy cow. Like, is it enough? Do I need to work harder? Do I need to not allow myself to eat chocolate ever? And by the way, my soul just howls in indignation and rebellion about that. But it's been really interesting to get to my ideal size, shape, and weight, and to still feel like I have to do more. And it's not because my husband's telling me that, because he is not. He is super clear. He loved me at 180 pounds. He loved me when I was 200 pounds in my pregnancies. He loved me when I'm 115 pounds. It does not matter to him what size, shape, or weight I am. He loves me and is attracted to me. And he is just, mwah. He is just the love of my life, the wind beneath my wings. But he really, really is my greatest supporter ever. And yet I still feel like I need a tummy tuck. So it's been very eye-opening for me as I've been diving into my own feminine and what lights me up to discover all of this body shame that I'm still in with myself. And, you know, I'm just like you, I'm a human and I'm flawed, and I'm also a work in progress. And part of me just really wants to cry, because when is it enough? And when do I let myself off the hook for that and stop putting so much pressure on myself to perform and to be all of those things and to do all of those things? So, queen that you are, I get what you're feeling. I get where you're coming from. I feel the same, and I've come from very similar things as well. And so I understand dimming your light. I understand not allowing my light to shine yet, because I'm not quite there yet where people will approve. So I get all that, and it's bogus and it's baloney, and we don't need to do that anymore. We don't need to put ourselves under this pressure and be looking at the clock all the time. And how much do I need to get done? And how much is on my to-do list? And we overschedule ourselves because we live in this society that has perpetuated this belief that the busier you are, the more important you are. Have you noticed that? that like if somebody has so much blank space in their calendar, well, they must be doing something wrong because they don't have anything to do. And it kind of puffs us up in our own sense of self-importance and makes us a little bit judgy with people that don't have a lot on their plate. And yet we overschedule ourselves and we're always feeling like we're behind. So we're always trying to play catch up. We start the day defeated. We end the day defeated because we're governed by the clock. We're governed by these to-do lists. We're governed by all of the work that needs to be done. And we can't ever play. And we're under all of this enormous pressure. It's always more. And then I don't know about you, but I just am exhausted. And then I got to double it. And I got to triple it and I got to 10x it. Like, I want to push that plate away from me. Like, thanks, but no thanks. Like I'm tired of that. And here's the thing. Can you get enormously successful with that formula? Yes. There have been thousands and millions of people who have done that, even women who have done that, who have done really, really well playing the boys' game. But guess what? I'm not a smaller, less hairy man. I am a woman. And men and women are different in every cell of our bodies. And what drives a man is different from what drives a woman. And it's divinely designed to be that way so that we can complement each other and be a team. These are two powerful energies of creation. And we've got to be able to balance the masculine and the feminine. And as women, we lead out with the feminine. You can be enormously successful doing it like a man and still feel empty and unfulfilled and like you're running on fumes all the time. You know how that feels, even with the physical results that you've gotten. It doesn't work for you anymore, just like it doesn't work for me anymore. It's why you found this podcast. So my lovely, it's time to shake it up and shake it off and shake it out. So what does that look like? Rather than being governed by the clock and the to-dos, we must be governed by our own compass. So what's the true north on our compass? The true north is your desire. You must be governed by your desires. And what's the roadmap to your desire? Pleasure. Pleasure is your roadmap to your desires. What it is you want. Your desires are God-given. They are placed there by God. You are meant to experience your desires in this lifetime. And the way that we go about getting to that next level of success in every area of our life is through pleasure. It's through play. That is part of leading out with our feminine. When you will try this on and you will allow your desires to point you in the direction that you want to go, and you start trusting them and you follow them. And all along the way, your roadmap is pleasure throughout the day. Now, does this mean you never do any work? You never get to your to-do list? You burn the to-do list? No, I really love my to-do list. It helps me stay structured. It helps me have a container for my day. But guess what? I don't start out the day in my to-do list. I start out my day in pleasure. I start out my day connecting to flow and I reconnect back to pleasure all throughout the day. Now, let me say this. I am a work in progress and I'm addicted to the to-dos just like you're addicted to the to-dos. So I'm in the process of rewiring my brain just like you're going to be in the process of rewiring your brain. But let me tell you what. Holy cow, if you want to stop micromanaging the journey, if you want to stop trying to make things happen and force things to happen and stop pushing the river and feeling like all you do is give and give and give and you can't ever receive, then this is the way that you get out from under all of that. You connect to pleasure. You might not even know what lights you up. You might not even know what you receive pleasure in. So you get to take out a piece of paper and start writing things down that you used to do when you were younger that just are frivolous and silly and unimportant now. Is it painting? Is it sketching? Is it coloring? Is it getting on a swing? Is it lying down in the grass? Is it taking nature walks? Is it getting your hair and your nails done? Is it getting a massage? What brings you pleasure? Is it a gorgeous sandwich? Is it fabulous chocolate? What brings you pleasure? What makes you feel sensual? Meaning, what gets you connected back to your body with your five senses? What do you love to see? Do you love to see a sunset or a sunrise? When was the last time you allowed yourself that? What do you love to hear? Do you love to hear the sound of the ocean? Do you know that you can hear the ocean even in a landlocked state like I live in? Get yourself a sound machine. You can hear the sound of a thunderstorm even in a drought. Get yourself a sound machine. What do you love to taste that feels decadent, that feels luxurious, that feels pleasurable? And that doesn't mean that you're filled with guilt. In fact, that can't be part of it. That whole guilty pleasure is garbage. What brings you pleasure? It can be, I love sugar snap peas. Pleasure. I love jicama. Oh, I love jicama. I love a garden salad. That is so good to me. I also love peanut M&Ms, and I love the chocolate duo dessert at Ruth's Chris and peanut butter pie at Ruth's Chris and the Cheesecake Factory cucumber lemonade. And I love any of their peanut butter chocolate combination cheesecakes. Do I eat one every day? No. When I get a piece, I enjoy it over a course of 4 or 5 days. Pleasure. What do you love to taste? What do you love to see that brings you pleasure? What do you love to hear? What do you love to touch that brings you pleasure? Do you love soft fabrics? What do you love to smell? Is there a great perfume that you haven't worn for a long time because it's super expensive? Buy it. Allow yourself that luxury. You are worth it. You deserve it. And you will actually get more done when you'll connect back to pleasure several times throughout the day than saving it for the end of the day, because there's never stuff left over at the end of the day. You're too tired. You're too worn out. Does your body love to move? Does your body love yoga? Does your body love to dance? Who cares whether or not you're a trained dancer or not? I don't. I'm not a trained dancer, but I'm a dancer. And my hips love to move and my shoulders love to move. And that brings me pleasure in the 2 or 3 minutes that I'm moving my body. Start listing those things that make you feel lit up inside. Did you notice that the things that I picked, it isn't 3 weeks on Maui, though that certainly brings me pleasure. It's not a trip around the world. It's not these huge, impossible things that I could never do unless I planned for 6 months. They're simple. Most of them are cheap. If you like painting, go to the art store and get yourself a little paint kit. It'll cost you $10 or less. If you like to color, same thing. Whatever lights you up, whatever starts connecting you back with your light and with your radiance, do it. It's not frivolous. It's not silly. It's not irresponsible. It is absolutely necessary, and it's critical. It's critical for you to get what you want. It's critical for you to reach that next level of success without struggle. Isn't that the greatest news you've ever heard? You got to play your way to success, because that's what your soul longs to do anyway, is play and be present. And here's a little tidbit. This is something I teach my clients. This is one of the ways that you alter time. You have so much influence over time. You can expand time and you can collapse time. And this is one of the ways that you do it. It's with pleasure. What are the results that you get by leading out with pleasure and following your desires, even if your desires don't make sense? Well, first and foremost, you're happy. I know that if I'm grumpy during the day or at the end of the day, it's because I haven't connected to pleasure and I haven't done self-care throughout the day. And here's a way that I know that I'm grumpy. I start sounding like this. I start sighing because my body is trying to release pressure. And it's not like this take a deep breath and like those cleansing breaths. It's not that. It's trying to get out from under something. And then I'm just grumpy too. And I snap at my family and I'm like, I don't know what I want. And I get kind of martyry about it. And there's so much to do. And I start feeling overwhelmed. I've been leading out with masculine for too long. I got to connect back to the feminine. I got to get connected back to pleasure. And when I do that, I'm happy. I'm present in the moment. I let go of performing for others. I let go of looking for others' approval. Are you a people pleaser? This will get you out of being a people pleaser really quickly, because you'll realize you only need approval from two beings, yourself and God. And God approves of this because you're a woman. And this is how he's designed you. He's designed you to lead out with pleasure. It's God approved. You turn on your light, you're radiant, and you get more done in less time. And you get what you want, and you stop worrying about when things are going to come or if they're going to come, because you're having such a great experience in the journey that the destination just doesn't even matter. And guess what? Here's the great news. You reach that next level of success and you're like, hot dang, that was so much easier and faster than I thought it was going to be. Let's do that again. Instead of somebody telling you, all right, now do double that. And you're like, oh, good gravy. How am I going to get that done? This was hard enough as it was. Oh, you won't be faced with that anymore. You'll be like, what else can we do? Can we grow our container more? How much more pleasure will I let myself receive? Because this is the key that unlocks the door to get to your desires. This will feel scary at first because you're addicted to drama, you're addicted to your to-dos, and you've only been taught one way to do it. So you're going to have these alarm bells going off in your mind, and it probably might be going off with others in your sphere of influence. Don't listen to them. Just continually pick it up as an experiment and try it out. Keep playing with it. Let it be simple. Let it be easy, but commit yourself to doing at least 3 things that bring you pleasure every day. I learned this from a number of people. Laura Doyle teaches it. Regina Thomashower teaches it. There's tons of books that are written on it, but let it be simple and start where you're at. If you need to pray for God's approval that you lead out with pleasure, then pray. I needed to. And I got such a glaring green light before I could even finish asking my question. Because as I turn on my light, and as I live in a state of turn on, it's not about sexual turn on, although that's a really powerful energy as well, but that's topic for another time. Being turned on is just being aware, it's being present, it's being in your body. I have conversations with other high-vibing women and high-vibing couples, and I am so turned on because we're talking about big ideas, and they're so fun, and it fills my soul. I have conversations that will turn me on, music that will turn me on, having a shower with great-smelling soaps will turn me on, bubbles turn me on. What turns you on? Allow yourself to start rediscovering what turns you on. You can always go back and choose pressure. It will always be there. You can always go back and be governed by the clock and be governed by your to-do list. But you know the experience you have by that, and you know the results that you've gotten, and you know how you feel with that. Come play with me. Come take my hand, and we'll do this together. You might feel like you want to cry right now. That's okay. Let yourself cry if you need to cry, because it's such a relief that there's another way that can be done, and it's a better way. And it's so simple and it's so straightforward. And you have a queen already in you. You have an empress. You have a goddess already in you. And she talks to you through pleasure. And she'll let you know exactly what she wants and how to get what you want. Let her guide you. Your intuition will never steer you wrong. So just try this on. Now, I know that this can feel a little intimidating at first. I just want you to connect with my team so we can give you some steps, so we can help you close that gap. So click on the show notes. Click on that link in the show notes that will lead you to an application to connect with a member of my team. We'll see where the gaps are. We'll see if we can help you to fill those gaps. And we can link arms with you and hold hands with you as we do this together. And as you are reconnecting with your brilliance and with your radiance, remember this always remember this: prosperity becomes you. We'll see you next time.